Most people think posture is just about standing up straight, but it's really about how your entire body communicates. Today, we will explore how to retrain that communication so you can finally feel balanced, strong, and pain free again. Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head on over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Dr. Brett Hill. Dr. Hill is a chiropractor, entrepreneur, and creator of yourpostureprogram.com, where he helps people transform their posture, mindset, and overall well being from anywhere in the world. Through decades of experience in clinical practice and human performance, he discovered that posture is a key neurological component that many overlook. It is deeply connected to how we think, feel, and show up in life. Welcome to the show, Dr. Hill. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's ask you the big question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Well, it relates to posture in a big way. Doing the little things each day either build good posture or negatively affect our posture. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because posture is something that we're affected in a huge way day in, day out from using our phones, technology. We can't get away from it. And it's affecting the world in a huge health way.
Uh, I, I I know this isn't related to posture, but in some ways it is. The whole laptop generation of people leaving laptops on their chest or their laps and without any protection. It's just like, ah. So
You know,
I can,
we're sitting in bed and we're just lounging with our laptops, our iPads, our phones right there, and hours on end, and we don't feel necessarily immediate effects, but time after time, day after day, the habits we create really build into impacts in our brain and nervous system and our physical health as well, and chronic problems that we see.
yeah. And I would like to ask you, what's the biggest piece of advice you have heard bantered around that you know just doesn't work?
Well, and I think it's important if we go into understanding, like the title says, is what actually is posture, but also defining what posture isn't is really important. People have this understanding that, oh, I just need to sit up straight. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I just need to pull my shoulders back. They're pretty tight, so I just pull them back. That's probably the biggest misconception, but that's not what posture is. Um, and posture, yeah, posture isn't just, whether I'm sitting or standing with a straight spine. It's about the control of my nervous system in the way my whole body is functioning and controlling through that core system. It's making sure we have that good communication, that good control of the body, so that we can automatically and intentionally move and be healthy in a lot of other ways. So if things are off and they've been compensating in little bits over a period of time, it's going to be detrimental to the body. And we see it relate to things like chronic pain problems, chronic breathing issues, because when we lose postural tone or we lose our awareness of how we should be positioned and moving day in, day out, we compensate. We don't breathe as deep. We might change our center of gravity, so balance issues can come into play and vertigo problems. We see headache problems. There's a lot of health issues that really tie back to the posture when it is out, when it is compensated. It can affect in a negative way. Um, it goes really in depth, looking neurologically. I get excited about that stuff. But basically, the brain adapts to whatever we tell it to do. So if we're sitting for hours on end on that computer, whether it be a CEO or a podcaster or whatever it is,
Mhm.
our bodies weren't designed to just sit there and let the chair do all the work to resist gravity. We're going to adapt to that. That negatively impacts the posture system or our physical system, which impacts that nervous system and brain. And then it becomes a new normal. Hamstrings are now tight, hip flexors are tight, neck tension, shoulder tension. That becomes the new normal because our brain is just adapting to whatever we tell it to do. And it gets really good at that. And so if we don't actually know what good posture should feel like, and it's not just pulling the shoulders back, or it's not just, oh yeah, I got to sit up straight, because we've already compensated in that movement and it's already been changed from where it should be to now having a lack of awareness. I like to use the example, if you've ever had like got a new watch, or for me it was when I got married, and I didn't wear rings before, and so I now had this wedding ring on, and I would play with it and I felt it for the first few weeks, months even, but then my brain turned it off. It became just part of my body. I would forget if I took it off to play a sport. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, I forgot to put it back on. And I didn't know. To me, that was the normal, whether it was on or off. I couldn't feel the difference. Our body just naturally adapts to those things that we do. Where at the beginning, we really felt it. And so if we don't have an awareness of where our body actually should be or what it should feel like, then we won't even know to correct it or that there is a problem. And that's one of the tough things with posture. It's all unconsciously controlled. We do it automatically.
How does muscle tone and working out fit into all of this?
Yeah. I love it when we see clients that are weightlifters or they work out all the time, but they're chronically getting injured, and they're like, I don't get it. I'm fit, or I've done this weightlift lots. Why did I injure myself this time? Or why do I keep having these same problems come back? Well, using those big muscle groups, and those are ones that are easy. If you want to build your biceps, just grab a weight and bend that arm. You can feel, exactly the movement you need to do. That's consciously controlled. But if our core system or our postural system has been compromised because it's adapted to the computer lifestyle, even doing that lift with our arm, we might not stabilize the core system and that spine properly. And it has to automatically support that system to generate power through our arms or our legs. And so we're more prone for injury, or the more we work out with improper posture and weak firing of that postural system, the more we're either going to get injured and or just adapt to those compensations that we've built into in our posture from working at the computer all day. We carry those over to working out in the gym or going for that run or riding that bike because we don't know any different. And so it wears us down and we more prone for a tear or other injury, even though we're doing our best to try to be healthy, strong, and fit. It can be really detrimental when we don't stabilize the right things properly and don't have that body awareness. So it's really key to gain body control and body muscle tone and strength where it needs to in that foundational support. Just like building a house, you got to have that foundation strong and steady before you start building the walls, or else everything's just gonna start cracking and faltering later on. And that's the same thing with our posture system. It's one of the first things we develop as a child before we can have coordination and movement through our limbs or our legs and things.
What do you think about schools and the whole idea of taking young kids and making them sit in desks long periods of time?
You know, and it's interesting because studies have shown that when kids are more active, when they sit on an exercise ball, they're more attentive. They do better in test scores. It's yeah, there's a lot there. It's a structured system for ease and for uh, getting the teaching model across, but it's not the most effective way. And we see these huge amounts of neurodivergencies with ADHD and other things, um, just exploding over the last 10 to 15 years, 20 years with there's lots to that. But one of the things that we see with posture, everybody has a device nowadays, and it's younger and younger ages in schools where we're starting to see a change where schools are saying, okay, no phones in the classroom, but a lot of times, you see a kid slouched in that chair, they're looking down at their phone or looking down at their schoolwork. They're not getting any activation to the healthy areas of the brain, their frontal lobe, which is really coordinated with postural tone, movement, um, sensory awareness. That shuts down and it lets the chair do the work in holding us upright. It shuts down the breathing, the oxygenation to the brain and nervous system because with poorer posture, we're not breathing as well. So our attention is less. We're going to retain less, and it's not ideal. And so doing little things, and this is where in our program, we get people to start with just 5 minutes a day, doing some simple exercise things can make big differences over time. So in the classroom, if kids were to sit on a little squishy ball or something where they can move a little bit, will actually make little improvements in their postural tone, in their nervous system to learn faster and adapt better. So it'd be nice to see some more of those incorporations. They are in some areas of the world in schools, but definitely can have a positive impact in our youth to develop those habits over time and years and see big differences.
And it would seem to me that the younger that you start helping people incorporate core strengthening exercises into their daily habits and just into the way that they are growing as children, the better that population is going to be as adults and probably more healthy because as you've mentioned along the way here, your posture really dictates to everything else in your body how how it feels and how it's going to actually function. Like if you have bad posture, it's going to mess up your guts and your heart and your lungs because you're not able to like you're not postured in the correct position to let your lungs expand. We're a society of really shallow breathers, and we have all kinds of sleep apnea problems because people don't have good posture, and so they're not taking deep breaths, and then your brain starts to go because you're not oxygenating. It's just like I can see how all of these pieces fit together. We're not just like an arm or a foot. We're a
And
complete
Jill, that's one of
organism.
the exactly. That's one of the reasons if I go back a little bit to, posture and even core, we use this term a lot of like, oh yeah, I've strengthened the core. Well, that's not going and doing crunches. That's not going and just, okay, I've got to do a bunch of planks. While those are good in a sense, when we're looking at the foundational structures here, posture is so much more than that. It's these small muscles that can be tricky to feel and know how to control. And they are the core, the back, the abdominals, deeper inside, glutes, all of these smaller muscles around these things that need to stabilize us and hold us upright against gravity. If we don't know what those or we don't use them, we'll lose that control. And if we don't know what that should feel like, we won't be able to correct that. And at an earlier age, the earlier we start connecting to this, the more we're going to adapt in healthy ways. And you're right, you know, it affects all aspects of the body. And we found that that's why we developed this program. Posture sounds simple, and there's so much to it. In the neurology training that I do, and one of the secrets, a lot of chiropractor clinics and things won't tell you or want you to know that I'm really kind of was turned off initially when I graduated was I don't want to be a system where it's just in, out, quick visit, and then come back 3 times a week, twice a week, and we'll see you forever. I'm like, well, we're trying to get people better. Just like a pill, you can take that and maybe your headache will go away or the tension, but your problem hasn't gone away. You've just covered your symptoms. Well, if that adjustment helps, but the problems keep coming back, there's a reason because the body's adapting to something causing that poor effect in the body. Let's address at the root of things. And the more we looked at the nervous system and brought it down into the root causes, we just kept seeing the postural weakness at the root of a lot of the problems that we saw and that we treat. And so we created this program to help more people worldwide and get better and empower them to not be reliant on the medication, not be reliant on the adjustment or the stretch for the shoulder, but really empower you to feel what should my body be holding so that when I do that workout, I'm not injuring that shoulder. Or when I'm sitting doing my work, I'm not causing a headache or causing these problems that will affect your ability to do things later on in life as it continues on that pathway. So it really can be simple little things. Like I said, 5 minutes a day is where you start to see big changes in these habits and in our health. And it can be as simple as increasing our breathing, in decreasing the fatigue that we have, the brain fog, because we're not taking a deep breath, because we're not in good postural tone. We stimulate the stress muscles of our traps because we're constantly leaning forward into the computer or holding a phone, and we don't have that awareness to support our body. So, yeah, those 5 minutes a day, start by making those changes, and you'd be amazed at the changes it can impact in your health long term.
And I would presume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that these exercises that you talk about, and you actually have some videos that we'll share the link to here in a little bit, to walk people through how to do them, three simple things that you can do that will impact how you actually hold yourself in your body. A lot of times I think people look at chiropractors and think, oh, bones. But your bones are held in place by the muscles and the fascia and all of these other little things that you didn't learn about in school, or maybe you did because you went to chiropractor school, but I didn't. And we just are so unaware of how much effect they can have on us to make us just feel better every day when you're not having headaches or shortness of breath or just all the things that happen because our posture's bad, even fit problems.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're right. And it comes more into the nervous system. So our muscles they can't, our bones can't move without the muscle system. And our muscle system can't activate or know what to do without the nervous system control. So it goes back into the more we look at the phone, the more we lean into the computer, um, and the more we sit, the more our brain is adapting to whatever we tell it to do. And so if we're not telling it to stand upright, to be tall, to move around, to lift things in a certain way or control this muscle to stabilize, it's going to lead to other problems, chronic pain symptoms, headaches, lots of things. And so if people are tired of dealing with those, if they are like, yeah, I've been here, been there, I always have this problem. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with it. If you hear yourself saying that to yourself, it doesn't need to be that way. Making little changes and paying attention to, yeah, you know what? I haven't moved in the last hour. These simple exercises we give people, one of them is just balance. Most people don't challenge their balance system very much. That's one of the leading causes of death as we get older, is just falls.
Falling.
And that happens over time as we lose these patterns. One of the things I can tell a lot of times from the assessment we do in this program, we'll take a picture, have people take a picture and send it to us through an app where it's very secure, and we analyze it and we do a video call like this to go over the results. And so if we see like their feet are really wide and turned out, I can tell that they are collapsing in their posture system because their brain is already adapting to try to make it easier for them to stand. But because they've lost some of that core tone, they're being wider in their stance because their balance system isn't as efficient. They don't know that. They're not thinking that, but it's just a subtle adaptations. So balance automatically, if we think of being tall and balancing, it's a great way to just wake up that system. It fuels our healthy area of our brain, the frontal lobe, tons. and it kind of wakes things up, allows us to take a deep breath. So one of the exercises we give people in those 3 free exercises we encourage people to start with that you can get at the end as a gift to your listeners is just that. I say stand against a wall or a door frame to help you sense your hips, your shoulders, and your head, because we don't want to train that balance system in an improper postural positioning. So use the wall or the door frame to help guide you at the beginning of where things should be. And it might be surprising we get people try to do this and they're like, "Oh man, I can't even get my head to the wall," because they've adapted so far forward that that's very uncomfortable, or they have to like look up at the ceiling to touch the wall. That's how much they've compensated. And yet the body doesn't see, hey, this is a major problem until we challenge them of where they should be. And so that's one of the first things we give them. We also focus on head movement. Most people think, oh, yeah, fix my posture, I got to sit up straight. What they should be thinking is, where's my head position in relation to my body? As the head goes forward, the muscles at the top of our neck will get tighter so that we still look straight. Otherwise, we would start looking down at the ground. And so that can chronically get tight and it tenses up our shoulders. Then our hips go forward to compensate for that. And so now we have tightness in the lower back, chronic achiness and pain. And so we start with one of these exercises just in lengthening the head, bringing it back over the shoulders, and if done properly, people will start to feel small muscles of their lower back engaging that they maybe didn't realize were even there before. So those 2 things, and then the third thing we get people to focus on at the beginning here, and again, these little activities seem small, but if you're consistent in doing them 5 minutes a day, boy, the changes can start to lead to big things and just maintaining it. But the third thing we work on is the pelvic tilt. So learning to bring the hips back and control through breathing, taking a deep breath, letting our shoulders relax, breathing out through the belly, and controlling some deeper muscles through our abdominals or pelvic floor muscles. And those are better described and easier to follow if you get those videos. We'll have descriptions, but as simple as that, trying to connect your brain to the body and how it's moving can be a great starting point for people to make some changes that will really help them.
I have another question for you. Uh, In addition to just practicing these 3 core exercises, will it help people who are suffering from hip pain or knee pain, which is to me also an indicator that so many people are having posture problems, and as they get older, because they've had poor posture and they've had to compensate by moving differently, these joints get worn out.
Definitely. When our body compensates and it can be from previous injuries or even when you're sitting. I mean, I'd ask you or any of your listeners if you're driving in the car or sitting right now, are you sitting straight? Are you sitting even on both butt cheeks? Are we leaning to one side? Are we um have these patterns we might not realize. Oftentimes it's always to one side, and we fall into these patterns of weakness and compensation. Now, when we use our posture system, it keeps that awareness of, oh, I was shifting. If I use these muscles, it has to straighten me out. And so it'll lead to wearing out the hip or the knee faster, or we walk slightly off, and that builds into tightness in certain muscles and weakness in other ones, and it wears out those joints or causes wear and tear, pain syndromes that can happen. And then what we see a lot is people are other professionals are just treating that pain area. Say, oh, well, you've just got this plantar fasciitis or whatever it is that we need to address. But if they don't change how they're walking because their postural tone is weak and they're shifting to one side or compensating so much, it's eventually going to come back or lead to other problems in the knee or other places. So there's a huge connection with that for sure.
Interesting. I woke up one day with a ganglion cyst on the side of my foot. And so all of this is
Mm,
really like very um it's really good information for me. And I do notice that as we're sitting here having this conversation, my head tilts this way a lot more than that way.
And your body will fall into the pattern of comfort. If you're
Mhm.
right-handed, you're going to reach forward and use the mouse more, which means you're going to lean slightly. And again, it's not going to be that one time you worked on the computer, now it messed everything up. It's the day in, day out. If you're right-handed, you're going to use your phone, which means you're going to pull that forward and look down. And that builds this pattern of shifting and adapting, but at the expense of something. As we build into these patterns over time, and we don't even know why did I wake now with this pain? Well, that problem has been coming on for a long period of time. Our brain and body has been adapting, but it can only adapt so much until it says, okay, we gotta change something here. And that's where the pain comes in.
Yeah.
And that's what we connect people to start recognizing and sensing, hey, look, let's address the root of things and this foundational support. And if you get really strong with it, it'll make a big difference. So those three exercises is the best starting point. The posture in our program that we take people through is a 10-week program. We really build into some cool functional um, strengthening exercises near the end that are much more difficult than at the beginning. At the beginning, we need to connect to, like I said, the head, the shoulders, the core in separate ways. By the end, we want that automated where as soon as you lift your head, you're firing your core, your shoulders, your balance system, and it all connects at the same time to just stabilize the body. Whether I'm standing, whether I'm lifting a box, doing a squat workout, sitting in a chair or the car, it doesn't matter. If you use these muscles with anything you do, it will support that system and have good control and stability.
I love that. So, do you work with people? I know you said you work with people all over the world, so you do it online. Is it one-on-one? Is it a group
Mhm.
program? How does all that look for people?
Yeah, well, we do have we had the option for group calling and one-on-one. Right now, we've made it to just we're actually changing it a little bit to start with a bit deeper consultation with people because we want to make it even more impactful. So we've gone back to just the one-on-one um, calls and training. Everybody has little differences and past histories and adaptations that they need to do. And we just wanted to be as effective and impactful for people. And so each call we check the form on these exercises. So if we were to take you through it, we would get you to do this assessment first, and then we can also do we want to do a consult to go over like what are all the things you're dealing with. Now, that's important too because if we need to refer you out to someone locally, we can do that. But it also gives us an idea of, hey, these are going to impact how you're going to respond. This helps us know patterns or traumas that you may have had or whatever it is impacting that health because it's yes, it's great to have good posture, but we want to get you people feeling better, confident, empowered to take care of their health. And so going through all that can be more impactful. And then we'll take you through this program once a week, 10 weeks. We have a video call to say, hey, how are you doing on that? We're going to tweak this a bit to help you feel that. We're going to adapt this for you to help you feel that better. And you get follow those videos until the next week. We add to it. It's never all just the same.
Mhm.
And then at the end, we're going to have you retake these pictures. And it's amazing to see the transformation and that happens in just 10 weeks. People are surprised because it's micro changes each week if they're consistent. And they feel, yeah, I'm more aware of this and that. But when they see like the measurements that we take, they're like, wow, I didn't realize I had made that big of a change or it had changed that much. That was huge. And it's really cool. And they can see that in how it impacts their health and their life.
It's amazing what just small things done consistently, how big of an effect they can have over a relatively short time. When it
Mhm,
comes to
mhm.
your body is an amazingly adaptable biological mechanism.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It is so amazing at adapting. It's adaptable for good and also for bad. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of our chronic problems today have become. We are adapting to sitting so much stress when we're go, go, go traveling for work, this or that. We're constantly on devices, stress, we're holding that in. That stress affects how we hold our posture, how we hold our body, how we sense what we're doing. So having control of that, if someone wants to feel more confident, stand taller, breathe deeper, have that
Put your
power pose.
arms
Well,
out.
yeah, for those people, when they say have your power pose, really just have good posture and hold that all the time. Imagine how you'd feel all the time versus just when you need it at the most important time of presenting or whatever it might be. So yeah, it adapts for good, but for bad, depending on whatever we do.
And it seems like if people will just do these three exercises that you went over that just to start with, if you incorporate it with your whole family, I mean, you don't have to
Mm,
hide in your bedroom and do it by yourself. The more people you
exactly.
can get involved in it, the happier the whole family becomes because they all start feeling better. And that ultimately, when you're not in pain, you feel good.
Yeah, 100%. And the more people you can impact to do this, and they can start to feel, you know what, I didn't realize I was weak in this, or I didn't realize my balance was so poor. It, it's bringing that awareness. Now we feel that need, or we recognize I need to change, and that's a great starting point. And so, yeah, the more people you can incorporate and encourage to move, to be healthy, and to do these exercises, the better off you're going to be. And it doesn't have to be crazy. The reason we designed this to make it simple. I have a very busy life. I found it was difficult to exercise and do all the things I wanted to do. I had four little kids starting this practice many years ago, and I'm really intentional with body movement and how can I strengthen myself to maintain a healthy spine, adjusting and doing other things. And from understanding how the body works, developing these a brain awareness and body awareness through these exercises. When I'm working away on something and I'm feeling fatigued, I'll go and I'll just do one of these exercises and it just wakes my brain up, wakes my body up to feel alive again, strength and healthy, um, versus that brain fog and that fatigue. And so these things, if we just do a little bit here and there, you can do one of them in the morning and one of them while you're waiting for your coffee or to brew, and one of them in the evening, and incorporate them into our daily life. It's makes a bigger impact than we would imagine. We don't necessarily need to go to the gym for an hour to see big improvements. While I do recommend people are healthy and working out, this doesn't replace just getting activity and exercise in a general way. This is about affecting our everyday movements, our everyday how we hold and carry ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And so when we can change that, it can help spark better health movements and activities and exercise things.
And we're just beings that were designed to move. Our lymphatic system, which moves your waste around and out of your body, it it doesn't have a pump mechanism. You need to move in order to get that to move out of your system. And if you have better posture, you're going to want to move versus poor posture, you hurt, you just want to like hunker down and then you're not moving and then all those toxins start building up and it's just a big vicious cycle.
There is so much to it, and that it can be all related back to, look, we're going to improve the posture system. It's going to affect that. It's going to improve that lymphatic flow. It's going to help you be aware because it empowers you to move in a healthier way. It empowers you to, for myself, I'm always at a standing desk. And when I feel myself lean or get fatigued, I'll do some balance to reset and then maybe sit if I need to for a bit. But um, being aware of what my body's doing versus allowing it to just adapt to the environment and have those negative health effects come in, whether it be with the anxiety that happens. When we activate our posture system and actually learn to relax our shoulders, I get so many people say, I didn't realize I was holding my shoulders up all the time. Like I never let them go. It's because that becomes the new normal. We don't know what our body's even doing anymore. And so this connects our brain to our body, help us take control back into our health.
I love this. So people can reach you by going to yourpostureprogram.com and they can find those videos at yourpostureprogram.com/videos, correct?
Definitely. That's correct. Yep. From there, once they get those videos, if they want, they can also book just a short consult. And it's kind of a bonus we give to your listeners if they want to see, what's going on with them and if they would be worthwhile to do a longer consult. But that is the best way to connect. And we love to help anybody that is in need of taking their life back, their health back, and restoring that postural structure.
I love that. And really just correcting your posture could save you so much money in terms of
Oh
going
yeah,
to the doctor for things that really are related to you've been holding your body wrong for so long. Just a
exactly.
few minutes every day.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really big here on empowering people. In our clinic, people say, "Wow, I've never had an exam like that." No, no, they don't spend that much time because we're trying to empower you, so we don't need to see you all the time, and we want to prevent further injuries from happening in the future for you. So, you mentioned something with your foot. If you're dealing with anything, like most people have these chronic things that we live with. We can live with pain until it starts preventing the time we spend with our kids or our ability to go for a bike ride or do what we want to do. Now we go and address it. But if we can take care of that before it becomes too big of a problem, you're going to save a ton of time and money on fixing bigger problems and not getting even at the root of it most of the time.
Yeah, I totally hear you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Hill. This has been a great conversation.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I get passionate about this. Love helping people. And thanks to you and your listeners today for listening. And hopefully it was helpful.
Helped me a ton.
Good, good. Love it. That's what we want.
To learn more about Dr. Hill and explore his Your Posture program, please visit yourpostureprogram.com/videos to find the 3 simple exercises videos to impact your posture. We'll be sure to put those links in the show notes below. Thank you for tuning in with us today to the U World Order Showcase podcast. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.